thing in front of the Grant's bar, it was like 8 feet deep.
Yeah.
I tell people this, and they say, man, no way. We had more snow than Flagstaff. Mayor had more snow than Flagstaff. And so anyway, the snow pretty well ended, and somebody says that, what was his name, Jim Hanford?
Yeah.
Yeah, was having a heart attack, and he was down at what they call Fort Misery. That's Al Francis' place. So Tony and Dave Martin and me, we decided we was going to go down there and try to rescue him, help him out. And the snow weasel, they had a big snow weasel in town, and he tried to get down there. But he got down so far, and it was just...
There was no road.
There was no road, it was just snow. And he was worried that he was going to slide off. So he finally turned around and come back. Well, he had packed the road down real good with his snow weasel, and he had covered up some tracks. Well, because Hanford's 2 kids had walked out in the snow and said that their dad was having a heart attack. That's how we found out about this. Well, when we got to the end of where that snow weasel, I mean, we were sinking in up to our knees in that snow. It was hard to walk, and if you once started sliding, you were gone in your history. Well, we finally got down to Orbell, and what had happened, a warm front come in during the night, and that snow got soft. And the snow was already melting. The creeks were running pretty big, Humbug Creek. We crossed it there at Orbell and went on down, started down what they call the 7-Eleven. Got down past Castle Rock, and there was another one of the characters that lived in the Bradshaws. There was Charlie and Louise. Yeah, Charlie and Louise Cooter. Well, Charlie and Louise Cooter, they loved wine. They had a root cellar there, and they'd go to Washington State and pick apples in the summer. And then they'd bring back about 30-gallon jugs of wine. So we were exhausted.
And then we yelled, hey, the house, way late at night.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, they got a light going, and we told them who we were, They already knew us, but we didn't want them to come out shooting. So, anyway, they invited us in, and I never seen 2 people in my life that laughed so much. I mean, they laughed at everything. And so we told them what we were doing, and
Fed us.
yeah, they gave us breakfast, filled us up on wine. So we took off, and we got down to the Al Francis place, and the Hanfords weren't there. And we thought, what in the world, Well, Tony had a Forest Service radio, a packet radio, and he called in, and he says, they're not here, and they said, well, they're in Crown King. They had walked out, and when that snow weasel went through there, it packed all the tracks we didn't know. Well, here we are in the bottom of this canyon, all of this soft snow, and so we started out again. We stopped at Charlie and Louise's, and they gave us another glass of wine. And we took off, and we got almost to Castle Rock, and Tony, his radio went off, Tony Nelson, this is so-and-so in the helicopter. Said, we've come down to rescue you. Well, that's nice. This helicopter come around the corner, and it was a early World War II Navy helicopter, where the blades went like this, And I mean, this thing was banging and knocking and making all kinds of noise, and I thought, oh dear. Well, he couldn't find any place to land. He said, well, he told Tony, he says, there's this ridge up here. He says, can you guys get up that ridge and we'll load you, we'll just hover over the snow and we'll load you. So we got, Tony got in first, and I got in, and then Dave Martin. And Dave Martin back then was a pretty hefty guy. And he started getting in, and that helicopter tipped. And that pilot, he was pulling on that lever. And, well, Tony had a dog, Troubles, and them blades was missing Troubles' head more, it looked like. Get that damn dog out of there, you know. And wanted to take the dog, but the pilot said, can't do it. He said, we're going to be overloaded. Because apparently helicopters at high altitudes don't do well. And this was not a turbocharged helicopter, I don't think. So we got in this antique, and he kind of lifted up a little bit, and he went down the canyon past Castle Rock and went around the turn there right above Charlie and Louise's house. And then he would do this, he would go up and then he'd come back. And he'd go up and he'd come back like that, like he was switchbacks. And anyway, the pilot says, we're pretty overloaded, and he says this elevation is, we're going to have to do this to get over the mountain. And the closer he got to Tiger Summit, the closer these things got. I mean, he was really struggling. And the helicopter wasn't moving very fast because he was going to run into the trees. And I'm not kidding you, when he went over Tiger Summit, it looked like he could reach out and touch the trees, the tops of the trees. Got off the other side and away he went, boy. Well, we went right over Crown King, down through the gap, down towards Cleator, and he turned and went over Bluebell Mine and turned, and I think he went above Mayor a little bit. Well, we were out about where Prescott Valley is now, and I like machinery. I like this kind of stuff. So I'm leaning over there and looking at the gauges and all these gauges on this thing. There was one there, and it said fuel, and it was a floating gauge. You know, this thing inside of it was floating. I was looking at it. It said 5. I tapped the pilot on the shoulder, and I said, what does that mean, 5 gallons? He looked at me and he said, no, 5 minutes. And anyway, we just did make it, to the Prescott Airport. And Tony was saying that later on that same helicopter crashed. Yeah. I've never seen a helicopter like that one, ever. Now, that was quite a little trip. Oh, and I'll mention when we were going down through the gap and we got on down the switchbacks, the county had a bulldozer plowing the road so we could get back to Crown King.
Well, it's quite a snow. Anyway, we're probably wearing you guys out, huh? Are we? If you wore out, we'll stop if you want. But I want to say there's so many families and so many people that have contributed to the history of our mountains and Crown King and all of that. And it's just hard to mention them, everybody, in one session. I mean, we could be here for 2 days, but there's so much more that went on. And I have brought a couple of items for you to look at when you have time to come up. This is a carbide light they used in the mines. These are the old gold scales. These are assayer scales that the assayer used to weigh the little buttons when he would assay the rock. This is Hostetler's stomach bitters. This cures everything. Cancer, diabetes, whatever you got, it would cure it. Yeah. And I recall in John Wayne's movie, The Shootist, he he did have cancer at that time, but he mentioned Hostetler bitters and all that. I showed you the old beer bottle there, whiskey bottle. The Matate, this I found in what had been an outhouse hole at one time. It was just dirt, but I was working with a backhoe and then I happened to bump into this thing, and this is either from China or Japan, but I believe it's from China, because they had Chinese cooks here in mining days. And I don't know what was in it, if it was some kind of liquor or whatever. Could have been full of opium for all I know, but it obviously came across. So if you want to look at these things, well, you're more than welcome. And thank you very much for coming and being a part of this for the Historical Society. And we're going to try to maybe do this again sometime, and we'll try to get a little better organized, but at least it gives you a flavor of things, okay? Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think this was Ben's. It's crazy. I think you don't fluff them. Strawberries and I actually I'm like, well, she did put it here. She put it here. So I assumed it's not all set. What time is it? 1, 2 o'clock. It's probably about time. I got chills. Did you get cold? I started shivering.
You did good, Margaret.
I'm gonna get out of the way here.
I know face just keep
Did she?
But you missed the.
It says stop on it. It says stop. I think we're gonna head out. We gotta go pack up and head up.
Text Susie my number. I'm staying up all night.
Oh, okay. That's drive by there.
That's right.
We're gonna go head over there. Okay. I'm gonna drive by your place too, so she can see that. Oh. Yeah, I'll go with you. Okay, cool. Allison hasn't seen your place.
You know, we were trying to decide the other day about when all the fires were. And then I go, oh yeah, okay, so Lane fired, and 4 years later, what's the body? We had 4, well, we had, 60, it's like a grand. Yeah, and then we didn't have anybody. So we didn't win. Yeah, for 7 years. Oh, did you hang the pictures up? That's right. You know what? I don't even bother throwing it back up. It's these my sprinkles that I never know. Yeah, but I took them down and I don't know You know what? You know my thing?